So we've already discussed, in general, most of what was in the North Carolina Farm Act. What I want to do today is spend just a little bit more time on the particular provision about swine farm permitting. If you'll remember back to the last session, there was a provision in that Farm Act that very specifically allowed for on-farm digesters to be placed on swine farms. There was some possible confusion about whether they were allowed under the moratorium or not. So the Farm Act of 2020 made clear that those were allowed. So move forward to 2021, and in the meantime, several farms had applied for permits from the Department of Environmental Quality to put these digesters on the farms. And there was a fair amount of delay. It took a long time for those farms to get their permits. So what the provision in the Farm Act this year does is tells DEQ to set up a general permit for these particular processes. The intent there is that these digesters will all essentially be the same. They're going to use the same equipment. They'll be all put on swine farms. And so DEQ will set up a general permit. So what they'll do is they'll go through the entire process of developing a single permit, go through public hearings and everything else, so it'll be out in the public. And then once that permit is finalized, then any farm that wants to put in a digester will apply to be covered by that general permit. And so it simplifies the administrative process. You approve the permit up front, and then the farms can apply to be covered by those permits. And what that does is provide some time certainty for those particular farms. They know what the permit conditions are going to be, and then they know that once they apply and they meet all the conditions, that they can get that permit in a reasonable time frame. So we've passed the time known as crossover. And what that means is it's a date that the General Assembly sets, a self-imposed deadline, where most bills have had to have passed one of the chambers. So either a House bill needs to have passed the House, or a Senate-introduced bill needs to have passed the Senate by this particular deadline to remain eligible for the rest of the session. And if you think about it, there are thousands of bills that get filed every year, but there are only hundreds of bills that typically make it over through crossover. Now, there are several exceptions to bills that can still remain eligible after the crossover deadline, but most of the bills now will know which ones are eligible and which ones are not moving forward. Also, we continue budget negotiations between the House and the Senate, so we'll maybe see some movement in the next few weeks, but so far we're still in the just past crossover lull of the General Assembly. They did a lot of work to get bills through crossover. Now they're taking it easy for a week or two, but look to see things pick up in the near future.